Yeah, how's your day going so far? I don't know
Yeah.
if Omari already asked you that.
It's been alright. My friend Solomon Gassion, he has his like first solo show, so we've all just been like everyone's just really excited. You know those friends that never like share anything with anyone, but
Yeah.
then it's just like everyone that knows, you just know in it, you just know. So I think everyone's like, "Oh, you going to the show? Oh, you going to?" I was like, "Of course I'm gonna go to the show. That's my
Yeah,
friend."
exactly.
So we're all just excited. I feel like it's like it feels like going to like a high school reunion. Yeah, so he's got his show today. So I've just been excited for that. But apart from that, I haven't actually this morning I haven't actually done that much. Like normally I really be starting my morning with Zeus Network. So I need so I'm trying to turn it around, like with the baddies.
You watch the baddies and shit. My like roommate's girlfriend, or we used to live together. I moved out, but he's been like my good friend since the fourth grade and all this shit. Anyway, she had a Zeus like membership or whatever, and downloaded it in our crib, and we would watch like the baddies and the Blueface and Krishan shit.
Oh, I don't watch the Blueface one. That one like actually shakes me because I'm like, okay, this is like a real couple. This is not like a joke.
Yeah,
Like I feel
yeah,
like
and
that one, yeah, it scares
Wait,
me.
what is this? What are you guys talking about?
Okay. So Zeus
Yeah,
Network
I
is a black
know.
is a black owned channel,
Yeah.
and it's I guess cool. I feel like it's
Wait, it's
hosted
like
by
an app
Vinny.
or something?
It's like a Netflix, but it's
Okay.
like it's definitely made on WordPress or something.
Okay.
And like honestly, I'm not gonna lie, the first time I watched like something on Zeus, I did cry because it's like
Mm,
you have to have like tough skin to watch anything on Zeus.
yeah.
Like because it is like, and you have to like zoom out because if you really process it you'll just cry profusely because it's like
Whoa, is that emotional? Like all the stuff on there is like emotional though.
It's
it's
raw,
not even, it's just raw. It's
super raw.
Yeah.
this is probably like the best form of like the most, I'm not even, I won't say best, but the most rawest form of documentary. And like I love
Mm,
documentaries, and like I love how I said I love documentary like it's one like one thing. But I like a documentary, so I think watching Zeus I'm like, oh crap, this is, I guess this is it when you actually cast real people, and this is the result. So I baddies I dip in between that. I often use like and there's also Jocelyn Hernandez's show where it's like a cabaret,
oh,
which
I
the
like
premise,
her.
yeah, the premise of that
Yeah.
one is kind of cute, but like what ends up happening is a bit because I think the premise of it is actually like Jocelyn just wanted to put on a cabaret show, but the
Okay.
reality is like you're kind of putting everyone in the house with a lot of alcohol and a lot of like insecurities, and then what ends up happening is just like WWE as well. But it's like it's kind of cute. Like I do like the recent Jocelyn, I do actually like it. They're trying to focus more on like routines and like dance, and I see what they're doing. Like I feel like it would
Yeah.
be my goal. It's like my dream to just like be like a consultant on Zeus, just a consultant,
Like
just to
what? What
help.
would you consult with? What would you consult with?
I think with Jocelyn, just kind of actually get like an actual, like a kind of more complex choreographer who could
Yeah.
actually be like, okay, ba ba ga ga ga. Whereas like usually they're just like, it's not, they're not doing that much. It's just dip
Mm.
low, dip up, dip low, dip up. But then it's also eerie because the whole soundtrack of Jocelyn is just, of her show is just her,
Oh, so it's like her music that's like over
but like
everything.
That's
constantly on a
cool.
loop,
Yeah.
That's
constantly. Like it's
hilarious.
just like it's like okay, wow, this is like one of the greatest art pieces because it's just like never ending. Her music, and it's like after a while you're like, but
I'm
then after a while
dead.
you're like, oh, then it gets embedded, and then I'm end up like streaming her music, and then I'm like, okay, I love Jocelyn. I feel like Zeus is just like, I don't know, I'm conflicted. I pay for it,
Wait, it's
but
like
it
a pay.
is.
Oh shit! It's like not like you can't get this shit for free. This is like a
Oh
paid.
hell no! This is it's
Mhm.
4.99 a month.
Oh damn. Wait,
Oh
Amar, do
yeah.
you pay for that? Do you watch it?
Not anymore because I don't with
He's like,
with
I'm
my
fine.
roommates anymore. But when I was living there, I was definitely watching all this shit, and I would watch the Blueface and Krishan stuff because it's like shot and scored like a horror film. Like
Yeah, the
it's like
music is.
scary.
I think is where it gets with the music in because I've seen the trailer for the Blueface, but the music is crazy. But I feel like it's about finding the balance. I think I always try and do that. I'm like, even like I used to just wake up and just watch baddies, and then my friends be like, "Oh, who's your favorite character? Is it Stunner or is it Tommy?" And I'm like, "Oh, Tommy's my favorite." And then like my friends that like Stunner, I'm always like, "Ugh, you like the meanest character." And then it makes me look at them different because I'm like, okay, so you guys really just like a baddie.
Yeah.
You guys really just like a baddie. So I think it's just finding the balance as well of just like that and just like things that are like more like just chilled.
Do you keep the
Like
same
that.
energy with like Love Island as well? Do you fuck with Love Island?
Uh, you know what? I watched one season like 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and I saw it for what it is. I think Love Island is probably like the wildest show pushing white supremacy because I think
That's
when I
facts.
watched it,
Yeah.
I was like after I watched it and I was enjoying it, and then after a while I was like, oh yes, this is beauty. Wait, this is and then it was like, wait a minute, this show is just like completely gaslighting everyone into like this idea of what beauty and like and then when you actually see kind of people voting for the characters and like the people that they think is the most compatible, like people are saying the people that are the most beautiful characters that UK is voting for, it's definitely made me think, wow, like this show does like play a big part in like kind of like this like molding this like fake idea of what UK is, and it's just not that. Like I think it's just not that. Like UK isn't just that. Do you know what I mean? There's like you know, I think when I was watching, I think I heard about the last Love Island, and the one of like the main black girls, I've forgotten her name. She's a baddie, but the
I know. I
fact that
think. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
but the fact that they had to, she had to be almost like so perfect, like a Barbie, even
Yeah.
for them to just be like, oh yeah, she's a beautiful one as well. But I was like, bro, like I could have my hair matted up and roughed up, and I that is still beauty. Like it doesn't have to be this like perfection. So and then this other guy called Dammy, he was like very perfect and like dench and like da da da. And it's like, okay, that's cool. And like, okay, it's like, yeah, Nigerian guy. Finally, people think he's beautiful. But I'm like, bro, like also to be beautiful, like you don't need to be dense. Like you don't need to. He even if he was like a size 18 of a pot belly, he'll still be a baddie, and that also should be kind of like put on TV. But I think I don't know. I feel like people have this idea of what they want to push for, kind of like what the standard of beauty is. And I feel like Love Island play a big part because they do it through
Yeah.
games and competitions, and it's like graded really bright. And if you watch Love Island, after the second episode, you're like this, come on. You're like, come on. My favorite is Becky and Sharon. And then you're like, hey, shit. Like I'm in it. So I think it's a very interesting. Well, I honestly like with UK TV, I mainly watch EastEnders,
Okay.
which is like
Isn't
a
that like
chill.
ongoing? Hasn't that been ongoing for like so long?
It's
Yeah.
just like a chilled soap opera. It's like rooted in realism.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I like it. Like really, like the white people really be looking ashy. Like if someone's dry, they got dry skin. It's ashy. It's like oh, iconic. And it's like you see like oh, dry hands. Like I love EastEnders. Like everyone just gives, and it's funded by like the our tax as well. So my tax pays for EastEnders. So I
Whoa.
have to watch it to get my money's worth for the
Wait, so
taxes I pay.
what does it
Yeah, of
come out
course.
on like the BBC or something? Like what is it? Okay.
On like BBC, like Monday to Thursday. As well. I feel like you guys have your own soaps, but yours is like kind of rooted in like melodrama.
I don't
Yeah.
think our soaps are as like celebrated. I think our soaps are like
Mm.
daytime TV that people just ignore completely. You know what I mean?
Except
It's
for
not like
Grey's Anatomy.
Eastenders.
Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, except for that shit.
People be
Wait, so
so harsh
do
on
you
Grey's
guys
Anatomy.
so you think Grey's Anatomy counts as a soap?
But I wasn't gonna count that, but I feel like it kind of
Interesting.
like
It's
is.
not? I thought it was.
Oh, dude, that's not a soap opera then.
Yeah, it's not. It's yeah. I think soaps are soap. You know what? You might be
It-
right. You
But
might.
I see his point though. That's what I'm saying. Like it definitely does function as like a
It
soap
does
because it's like
function. It
so
does,
many seasons.
and it's
People are
the
just crying
same,
all the time. Like I don't
and
know.
it's usually just focused with because I think the definition of a soap is usually kind of it has to be kind of functioned around this like just a location and a set. I think that's the
Yeah.
main thing about what makes a soap different from a series is but I guess in America, a series you guys do. I guess it's very interesting. I guess the idea of actually, you know what's so funny about the soap? There was a director I really like called Bill Gunn. He made a film with Ishmael Reed called Personal Problems, and he named it a soap.
Mm.
And it was just like kind of it was quite melodramatic at points, but actually most of the film nothing really happens, but it's just set in like kind of just poignant parts of like a living room, outdoors, a dining area, and he and Ishmael Riri were like, yeah, this is a soap. We count this as a soap. And then people were like, yeah, I guess it's a soap as well. But it's like yeah, one of my favorite films, Personal Problems as well. So it's interesting the idea of like I guess everything is like I guess subjective in that sense. Do you know what I mean? Like we could shoot a music video, you could be like, it's a soap. And it's like who's that to like be like, oh, it's not a soap. Like, do you know what I mean? So yeah, you're right. I guess Grey's Anatomy could fall into that bracket, basically.
Yeah, most of the things that are like soap operas or like considered technical soaps come on at like 12 a.m., like 12 p.m. to like 3 p.m. on like daytime television where like no one's watching them. And they're on like these big networks that have to like fill a slot. So it's not like a show that's like celebrated or a series that are celebrated or like Eastenders. Like what time does Eastenders like come on? Then people watch?
Normally 8 p.m. But I just watch it on
see, that's not.
yeah, I just watch it on the iPlayer. But I feel like if EastEnders, the reason why EastEnders is a bit more interesting is because in UK like shows like BBC, it comes out of our tax. And so this is like this thing where a lot of British people, not really like the young gen, but a lot of British people are like, no, we are going to watch EastEnders because that's what I pay my tax for. So a lot of the episodes are centered to like British issues, whether that's like, you know, like racism or relationships or teen pregnancy or like the drugs or all these things. And then like if there's something that happens that's like uncomfortable, you can actually like complain to the Ofcom and they actually have to get back to you.
No way.
Yeah, because it's like our tax covers it. It's like tax.
So your input is like mattered on the show.
Yeah. So that's how I'll be watching it. If there's a storyline I don't like, I'm like, I don't like this.
Send an email.
Yeah, I'm like, I want my money back. As well. But yeah.
Now I gotta check out the Eastenders and see what's good.
It's a goodie. 30 years going strong.
That's crazy. UK
is an interesting one. That's all I'm gonna say. It's an interesting place. Well, where are you guys from?
I'm from DC, but I'm calling from Philly right now.
DC is the what?
DC's the capital.
Yeah, but it's the black capital. It's the black journalist Olivia Pope.
Facts.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I was just like scandal.
Yeah, no. That's really funny.
I just put two and two. She's referring.
That took me a second to register.
And then where are you from?
I'm from Portland, Oregon.
Oh, sick. Sick. Chilled. That's cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, we definitely started the interview already, but it's Sleepwalker, and we're here with Klein. Um, we were just talking about where we're from, and you're from South London, right?
Yes, Southeast.
Southeast. What was it like growing up there?
I feel like I started off in Southeast, but then my mom and I we then moved to Southwest. So I used to commute from Southwest to Southeast, um, growing up. And I feel like the school that I went to was like predominantly like Nigerians. So my upbringing was like pretty chill. Like literally in the school lunch, they'll give us jollof rice.
That's lit.
Like, yeah, we'd get like jollof rice, plantain, and it was just like really like it was kind of like in hindsight, the same shit everyone sees like fights. I think fights that was just the normal. You see fights every day. You have to avoid certain schools. You can't get off I remember like at one point my school was like, oh, we have to leave a bit earlier because the kids in Peckham and my school was in Camberwell, they wanted to be up our school. But I was like, me? What has it affected me? And then my teacher was like, yo, listen, you're frail. You'll be easy target. So I was like, oh God. So we had to like there was a lot of things like maneuvering. I think growing up got good at like maneuvering, like finding secret routes to just get home. I think overall it was like it was sick because I think growing up in an area that was like so predominantly black, which isn't like that anymore because of gentrification, was sick. Like I kind of felt like anything was possible kind of growing up as well where I was.
That's lit. So the Nigerian community is pretty strong in like London, you'd say.
Yeah, I'd say so, especially in Southeast between at the time Campbell, Abbeywood, Thameswood, and also Peckham as well.
Are there a lot of Somalis in Southeast as well, or Southwest, or South London in general?
A lot of what?
Somalis in South London?
Not South London. I'll say like Neasden, Harlesden, Willesden. That's more like Northwest as well. That's where all the brothers are, just over there. Actually, you know what? London be like so separated sometimes, but then everyone comes together like in college and school. But yeah, a lot of like, I think that's mainly just because of the mosque, like, yeah, pretty much. It's just because like there's a lot of mosques in Northwest and then some in South. But yeah, I'd say mainly Somali community is mainly in Northwest or West.
Right.
Facts. Well then when exactly did you start getting into like making music and stuff? And was it always experimental music?
You know what's so funny about this is like when I was growing up, my mom was like, when I was 13 or something, she said, oh, remember you said you wanted to be a lawyer? I was like, oh yeah, I did. But I think I said it when I was like 8. And then my family just helped.
Help tight to that one.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, cool. And I was really into like kind of just like American, like CSI. And I was like, wow, criminal law, that could be a vibe. So I remember having like a long-term goal as like a criminal lawyer. And then my short-term goal was like an event planner because I watched Wedding Planner with J-Lo. And I was like, oh, that sounds like an easy job. So I think there was a lot of things I dabbled in just because I was like, why not? I did a lot of sports. I did like weird sports. Like I did like weird. I did like badminton, but then like my mom enrolled me into like baton twirling.
Baton swirling?
No, baton twirling where you just go.
Oh, like the twirling shit. Yeah.
So I definitely feel like she was training me to be a spy or something because there was a lot of like things she just made me just like learn to do. And I was like, why? So I think growing up, I spent a lot of time because also like I just spent a lot of time just doing a bunch of things. And I think when I was younger, I would always dabble in like, I feel like everyone like records stuff and like plays around with like a piano and some, you know what I mean, like a keyboard and go dang dang dang. And I'd always do stuff like that. But quite frankly, I just didn't think. I never thought like music was like a thing that for myself, because I think I had a very strong. I think when I was younger, my auntie made me a whole mix of just like songs that are like out, and I'd see it, and I didn't think. I was like, wow, that's amazing. This is what I feel like. I was always that kind of person being like, oh, this is what a musician is. This is. I had a very, I guess, strong idea of what a musician was, and I just didn't think I fell into that. So it kind of made it more fun for me to just in my spare time to just like make things and just like I think the minute I discovered the internet, it was just game over. Cause I'll start a blog with a friend anonymously. We'll have our own blog, talk about streetwear stuff. And I'll be like, okay, delete. And I'll start another thing. I'll make another song about like, I don't know, like trees and stuff. And I'll delete it. And I just thought it was fun. But I obviously didn't, I also forgot that the internet is a thing where when you make something, people download, they share. And I think when it then started with Klein, I generally like I heard Adele. No, it wasn't even Adele because that was even for the first record. I heard like a few songs by Drake, and I think it was on the started. What album is it that started from the bottom? Album. Nothing was ever the same. Nothing was the same. I think maybe that album by Drake. I was
Is
like,
that
oh,
where
this
he's
is nice.
looking to the side? It's like a side
Yeah,
profile.
yeah. It's like the
I feel
kid
like
in
it was
him.
Yeah.
so I heard that and I was like, oh, but this is the album that has started from the bottom. And I remember just like making like a cover of that. And I was like, oh, but like my own cover. And I just did that a lot. And then I must have done a cover for just like I just kept on doing covers. I just found were like fun because I was like, oh, music, if you like a song, you do a cover of it, you upload it. But then I guess I must have done a cover of Adele, Hello, and like my ex-boyfriend like shot the video, and then I don't know, maybe Arca, someone hit me up and was like, yo, what the hell is this? This is fire. And I said, huh? And then and I was like, huh? And I kind of ignored it. And I got gasped. I was like, okay, cool. Like I think I came across them before because weirdly enough, I think before kind of transitioning into this, I realized that I actually liked film. So I think my direction was like kind of working as a junior editor. I like worked in TV, like doing like I was like a runner, like a researcher for like TV shows. And I actually met Arca once. I served them coffee with their ex-partner and served them coffee and tea whilst interning. And I guess like I recognized them from that moment. So when they messaged me, I was like, oh, sick. But I still was like, didn't think anything of it. And I made like a record and called Only, which I've taken down because I literally just don't like my voice in it. But then I made that, I forgot about it. And then like 6-8 months later, Bjork emailed me. And then there was like a bunch of random people that was just messaging me. And they were like, oh, you're a musician, you're an artist. I was like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, that record is gone. I even deleted it. I said the record gotta go because I was like, no, I'm gonna go back to my normal job. It's okay. I'm gonna go back to my normal job. And I think it really wasn't until like, because I kind of go through waves of that, like of like this idea of whether I'm a musician or whether I am actually making music. And I think the past like year or two that I've kind of been like, I guess, yeah, this is music, you know what I mean? But I think a lot of time was just kind of me filling up my time with things just because kind of growing up, I spent 60% of the time in solitude. So, and like just with not that many friends and kind of like just, so I would just spend most of my time just making things and just like uploading it. I think, I don't know, I feel like the internet is such a funny place, but I think just like uploading things and like the way things like travel to different people, I kind of forgot the trickle effect that it could have. And I think that definitely overwhelmed me a year in because I was like, oh, I'm not a musician. I'm not a musician. And I think only now I feel that. So I think, I guess to some, they'll say I've been making music for like 10 years. For myself, I think I've been making music for a year. I feel like we finally got into it a year because I think all of those times was like kind of I wasn't necessarily thinking about what it is. All I was doing was like more time, like a lot of the songs or sounds, I was just like, oh, I'm feeling this way about something. This is the only way I could kind of express it. Especially there was a period where I just wouldn't, I'd be a friend, but I wouldn't like tell my friends about like how I really feel about, I don't know. There was this guy that was like killed by the police called Mark Duggan. Like I wouldn't be like, oh guys, man, we go like da da da. Like I just wouldn't talk about that with my friends. So I think I realized that only through sound, and especially when I even used my voice less, like the less I used my physical voice and just kind of made stuff use without voice, that was the most I was able to express how I felt about things. And I guess that was when I was like, okay, I guess this could be, I guess, a thing as well. But yeah.
Facts.
What about the cosigns didn't make it seem like, especially with Bjork emailing you or Arca like reaching out, like what about the specific cosign didn't really like resonate to you and be like, oh, this is something where like I'm getting this acclaim, like why not sort of like lean into it more?
I think my thing is I'm from South, like so I said this to someone, I was like, bro, like I knew of Bjork, like I heard of the song, like It's So Quiet, but no, I didn't grow up listening to these to a lot of these artists. So fortunately for me, I guess at the time looking back, I was like, damn, I could have really run it up. But at that time I was like, nah, like if I got a message from Dizzy, if I got a message from Jay-Z, if I got a message, but like I don't even like if it was like even shiesty artists that were close to like what I listened to, which was like funky house, like grime, even like anything that I was like I actually actively listened to growing up, it would have meant more. And also as well, like I think for me, because they weren't like directly like also artists that I grew up with, it was just like, oh, thanks. I was always like, thanks, man. That's really cool. Like, but it just didn't really like mean that much. Like I more gassed when like some kid on the street is like some rude kid is like, yo, that beat beat bop bop. I fuck with that. I'm like, and I'm like, oh my god, I made it. I made it. Like I remember one time I had a show, this guy called Rags Original, he like produced like Skepta's Shutdown and worked on some of the stuff from Point Chihuahua. I actually know his music and I actually like listened to the beats that he made. So one time when he came to my show, you would have thought Beyonce arrived. I was like, oh guys, I have made it. I was like, that for me, kind of because it's actually like directly artists that I actually listened to and also like growing up had a direct impact on me. So I think for me, I don't really like cosigns like that. That doesn't mean that much to me. Like as actually like I'm more concerned about like actual people, like real people, like the uncle that is like, hey, I like that one song, and I'm like, really? How? When? How did you come across it? Like I think that's more interesting because I think weirdly enough, people just don't what's the word? People don't know what they're supposed to like. So weirdly enough, people kind of like need like this like usually it's like a white cosign to be like, oh yeah, I think they're amazing, and then everyone goes, actually, I think so too. But like, bruh, if this woman Bjork never said anything, would you like it? Nah. And I think I just prefer things just like being like more kind of grassroots and like it kind of have I think
No, for sure.
I think that's also just because also like just how I grew up because I literally watched Breakfast Club and Hot 97. So like one time, me and my friend Christelle, our music got played in the mix by Juliana Huxtable for Hot 97, and I was like, this is it for me because it's Hot 97, which I love, and it's Juliana Huxtable, who's like one of my favorite artists. It's a rap. I think that resonated more to me because I actually had such a personal personal connection with both avenues as well. But I think like in terms of cosigns, it's cool. Like it's definitely like I guess a little bit. I think a few years ago, it was like, oh, like a nice feeling, just because I guess at the time when I was making stuff, there was also a lot of people I knew that were like, I don't know, maybe you should do something like this. Maybe you should do something like this. So obviously when like Bjork was like, oh, I like ya. So everyone's like, I'm like, oh, purr. I said, I told you guys. But then I think it's like also that is also okay, because I don't think like it's fine. Like I feel like I think really the validation really just comes from like, and the cosigns should just come from yourself. Like it's just like, okay, do you think this bangs for yourself? And it's like, is this have you pushed yourself more than the last time? Or I think even for myself, I'm just like, I'm aware of my lack of knowledge and the fact that I just didn't know how to do anything, just because I literally left with no grades, barely any grades in school. So that in itself, I've already outdone what my younger self thought. And I think that's already enough for me anyway. I feel like, how do you guys feel like in terms of like with like cosign, or I guess like validation and all that stuff?
I mean, I feel like pretty similar to sorry, I just got a random text message. But no, I feel pretty similar to how you feel. And like I'm not really, it means more like if someone like personal that I know, or like someone that I grew up listening to, like acknowledges, Sleepwalker and shit like that, or even like you reaching out to me, and like I wasn't even familiar with your music like at all, and then I like looked into it, and the more I like saw, and I was like, oh shit, like you've been out here like doing shit for a minute, and it's cool that you came across it. Like that shit means like a lot.
Like you guys are genuinely so fire, and like literally like even the fact that you guys like make like crazy mixes, just do whatever, and it's like back to back, back to back, back to back. And I think that's why I was like, oh my god, you guys are actually crazy. Like it's actually, and I think it's definitely interesting about like kind of because even sometimes you could even have someone that you know that people you're growing up with, and they could even be like, I don't get it. And I feel like that's when you even have to then even zoom out more and be like, okay, well, do I get it?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
exactly.
And I think sometimes it's up for like, I think I like this idea of like just people, you can catch up whenever. But I do think like it's so important, especially with like digital footprint, especially as like black people. Like I think there was a period where there was no internet. Back in the day, we didn't have access to internet. There wasn't access to anything. And the fact that like we can literally you can just post anything right now. Like you can make a mix, you can make a movie. We can make a movie tomorrow, upload it on Tubi, and it's like boom,
Yeah,
it's a wrap. And I think that idea of like the validation is actually just like, it really is just like self within of like, you know what you're already doing. It's for other people to catch up, because literally I was just watching Vayda's video, and I love Vayda. That's literally that's my angel. And
shout
she's
out.
definitely a superstar. Is already is written, it's a rap. And literally I was also watching an interview, and I came across all the other stuff. I was like, what the? I said, wow, this is amazing. Like, wow, like this is like the internet is such an amazing place to just like come
Yeah,
across like other people. And I love that you guys called it like a free form archival project, because that is what it is. Do you know what I mean? And I think,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
exactly. I feel like when I came up with that like idea, probably like maybe 2 years ago, a year and a half, and ever since then, that's something that I kind of like, that self validation shit you're talking about, like looking back on what I'm doing and like the future of it, like having something to like look at and call it like and stand on type shit is definitely
Mhm.
super helpful in like continuing it. But yeah, no, I appreciate that. That's lit.
I think that like leads to like my second question. I think when you're saying like when cosigns don't really mean as much to you, do you feel like the spaces in which you make music represent the spaces that you want to get sort of not praise from, but just like recognition from, like instead of in terms of like performing in museums and sort of having these like highbrow sort of like eyes on you? How does that make you feel when it comes to like sort of the recognition you'd like to get from more personal places, if that makes sense, or places that represent you. Like, do you feel like these places like represent you very much?
I feel like I'd be more happy if my music was played on Top Boy. Like
Yeah.
if I was like if I got an email and they were like, we want you to score Top Boy, I'd be like, okay, let's go. I think because I didn't, and I think this is it's so funny that you said the highbrow stuff because I think a lot of when I first started like playing shows, people were like, yo, you're playing so and so, and you're playing this place, you're playing this place. And I guess I couldn't even, there was no reference point because I don't know these places. So when it's like
Mhm.
the Kunstwein, da 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 da, I'm like, no, because more time, especially when you're even playing these highbrow places, you're even having to fight to get paid.
Wow.
And
Word.
they're like no, and then the show will be packed out, and then it's like a thing, and then everyone's like, oh, you got paid loads. It's like, I did. Oh well, I should have, but I didn't know. And then I think a lot of time, I think when I first started out, I think a lot of people played to like my naivety because I
Mhm.
was like also I'm much better now, but I was definitely a proclaimed person that I'll use the internet, but I wouldn't like dig too deep. Like I wouldn't like I did this show at like Gallery Book Holds with my friend Josie. The fact that we just literally agreed to do the show because the guy was talking about Love Island, we had a little chuckle, ha ha ha. And they were like, okay, we'll do the show. And I remember that one time we were like asking them for like £80 per DM for like to be like, yes, haha. And it was like people were like, this is gallery be cults. This is you could have got like, I was like not me thinking of we thought we were like scamming them, but asking for £80 for food and drinks a day. And I think and then we like Googled and we're like, oh shit, the guy worked with Philip Glass, Wolfgang Tillman, all these people. And I was like, fair enough. And so I think there's a lot of time that I think a lot of those institutions kind of played on the fact that I kind of didn't know that much as well. So I think I was definitely removed from it, but I think the only reason why I've also had a great experience in this space is because I literally would do it with my friends. Like I started off like playing alone, and I was like, oh god, this is scary. So I'll just bring in friends. I'll be like, okay, you're gonna do set this out. Actually, you know what? You're gonna be the host. Okay, Josie, do you want to do live visuals with me? Okay, and I would just like bring in like different. So it was this thing where I just didn't. I wasn't like the only one, or I would even cut my set half just to have a friend play it or someone play it because I was like, there's no way you guys are gonna have me be the only black girl on the bill
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's what a lot of these spaces would do as well. And I kind of noticed very quickly on that I was like, I'd rather make less money and just like run it up with everyone than take the money and then I'm like the only black in the room. And I was like,
Mhm.
that's not gonna run. So I think a lot of times, but I guess also because I just didn't really have any expectation. I've never had an expectation of where my music could lie or where my music could, because I just don't um maybe in March, like I was like, oh, thinking about things, do like music, just because I had an album coming out a little bit, but I don't think about like my music, and I'm quite removed from it. Like I make it, I do what I need to make. I make if I make an artwork, make a film, I just upload it, and I don't really think about kind of everything surrounding, and I just work with people that I want to work with, and then that's it. More time this year, I've just been saying no. Like if the places are too white and it's too scary, I really just be like, I can't do it. I can't. I'll be like, catch me. I said to my friend, I was like, catch me on the Jill Scott tour. Catch me. I was like, just because I feel like now I'm just because like I actually just want to play like spaces that actually I enjoy. And it's not,
Yeah.
I don't really, it's not about whether it's like this is the most esteemed. It's like if I feel scared, I'm just not gonna do it. If I'm shaking, it's probably a bad sign.
Facts. That makes sense. That makes sense. I just want to say it's lit that you have that approach as far as like bringing out people with you to these spaces and not like doing it. So I think that's really smart and also like, good to give those other people that experience too. And also what are like your top like 3 to 5 performances that you've done each so far, would you say?
I
Or like
feel like the first one that is the most iconic for me is I got asked, I think in 2017 or 18, to open up for like this white band from like up north called like Darkstar. And then like I feel like the fee was very low in like looking back now, and like it was actually quite low. But I was like, okay, cool. But then my agent at the time, Cap, we went to see the space that they wanted me to play. So they had the band playing in like the orchestral room and the da 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 da. And they said, okay, the Nignogs, y'all gonna be here. They had me in the foyer. I said, oh shit. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna be in the foyer. But then I clocked that they had a grand piano.
yeah.
And I thought they had like crazy big scream. So then me and my agent at the time were like, oh, I had this idea of wanting to do a musical anyway. So I was like, we should just do like a musical play. And then so my manager got like a school to let us rehearse. And then literally every week, I put a call out, had friends in it, some like people I didn't know. Funny enough, one of the girls that we ended up having was this girl called Sienna King, who's now in Little Mermaid.
Oh
She,
wow.
yeah, one of the beautiful black baddie mermaids, and she was in it because I'd already seen her on a TV show with Naomi Campbell, and I was like, and I've seen her like in one of the estate I used to live in North London. I saw her with little Sims because they used to just run around, and I was like, oh my god, that's Sienna from the TV show, and that's little Sims who everyone knew about, like knew their music, and it was been circulating. And I was like, Sienna, could you be in this? I can't pay you, but they're going to be chin chin, some super malts. We all get to have fun, and then we just did this rehearsal, and basically when people then turned up, I guess turning up to see me DJ at the show, it was this elaborate like a dance piece, like literally on some you got served,
Yeah,
but
that's
with like
crazy.
noise and drone, and like it was just so dramatic. And because of that show, I ended up getting an actual musical at the ICA, and I ended up doing an actual musical through that show. So I'd say that was like one of my favorite ones. That's number one. Number two is this. I played a festival called Unsound. So technically, it's the best and the worst. The worst because like during sound check, the sound guys were actually like being racist to me in Polish, and
Oh damn.
it was so wild that like we were like, wait, what? And I was like playing, and like I used to experience. It's much better now, but I used to experience this a lot whenever I turn up to sound check. The sound guys would really think I just didn't know anything, but but the thing was, I also didn't know what a mini jack was, and because I didn't know what a mini jack was, I was like, I don't know what the cables are, but I know what it is. And then they'd be like, they would always hover over me, and they'd always just be like kind of pissed off that I was like playing. And I think that was when I started to realize that people just don't, that you're not, the people don't want to see Black people just in any space. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At all. And so that was like really like, I remember just being like, it's weird. I kind of numbed it out because like all my friends at the time, I guess it was like 3 years later that I remembered and I cried. But at the time I was like, okay, fair enough, fair enough. And the show we did for that was one of the most insane things that we don't even have any footage. Only like maybe some people on Instagram have stuff of it. But this was when we opened up for this woman called Holly Herden. And instead of just doing a traditional live set that I guess most people used to do, but I think I used to just use live shows to just test out ideas and film ideas. I played 6ix9ine. Josie played the judge, and we basically reenacted the court case. And then my bandmates actually just represent. They were just like Twitter and Shade Room. But then my friend Solomon Gassion was like, he had a massive 2-pack t-shirt. So he was just like the spirit of 2-pack. And I remember that show being like, it was so insane. Even when I look back at it, and like I was like, nah. But then we were like, I was 6ix9ine, but we were all like dressed like fitness baddies. And the music was like, and people were like, like I remember asking my manager for the footage. He was even in so much shock that he sent us the footage. It was just his camera like this. Because he was like, So I think that was one of my favorite, just because it was just like so. I think after all the like racism that we experienced, it was just so manic and so fun, and like also weirdly enough, dissecting 6ix9ine's court case basically made you realize how much darker the whole situation was, as well. And then kind of when said, just across the board, the judge, him, everyone reacting and engaging with him, it's like everyone's in the wrong. Everyone's in the wrong. Do you know what I mean? It's like someone like that, you just cannot engage with them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he is part of the problem. And I think kind of like fleshing it out, but putting it, saying his words on just like normal people. And like, it makes you even kind of realize that actually he was just a child as well. Like literally, this is it literally a clout chaser, a clout chaser baby. And so then the third one is probably this show. Actually, no, the third one is not technically a show, but it was in Lisbon, and my friend Mike, he was doing a show with Neonte, Onicia, and they were like, "Oh, could you play?" And I was like, "I'm not playing." I was like, "I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared." But then he was like, "Oh, can you just do the song?" And I like did the song that we did together called Ipari Park.
Mm-hmm.
And I just blacked out. It was so funny because it's not even my best form. Because I normally don't sing. I normally just like my live shows are normally just drums, guitar, electronics. But then like as I was just singing, I looked to the right, I see Tebe. I looked to the left, I see Mac. I literally tears were shaking in my eyes because I was like, wait a minute. When I was 12 years old, I used to literally watch Odd Future videos. Like, and like everyone's acting all chilled and nonchalant. I was like, I can't even sing. I'm looking at L right there. This is someone that I grew up listening to, going, come on. I'm looking at Mike going, because even before we even became friends, I was already like a big fan of his music. So I think I had this like weird disassociation where I was like, fuck it. The world could just end today. Like, it doesn't even matter because I'm even singing off key. I'm even shaking. I can't even look at the crowd. I'm just looking down. It was only 20 seconds. But yeah, I was like, my younger self would literally lose their mind because this was like, I've never felt more safe on stage. And I'm someone with the show was in the daytime. I don't even play in the daytime. Normally it's blackout, but you don't even see me on stage like that. And I think that moment, I would say it felt like one of the best moments of like my life, just because like I knew, and it's so funny because like, I've done like other shows that are, I guess, like more crazy and like and I feel like weirdly enough as well, I'd put that show also outside the mic show also alongside with playing with Baby Father in 2018, because also again it's like coming across Dean and meeting him online and then actually becoming friends, and also then like James and Ibs and all of those guys. Like actually both shows are like shows where I felt so safe where it didn't even matter if I fumbled. It didn't matter because I'm literally playing with like some of my closest friends and also like some of my favorite artists. And I think those, I just say those moments, I think I put them both together are like one of my favorite like live experiences, I'd say.
Yeah, no, that's lit. It's some movie shit.
Most definitely.
I saw in an interview, and you kind of were touched on this when you were just explaining about the shows you've done. Like your live sets are normally different from like the music you release on the internet and stuff, right? Would you say?
100%. Like I just, yeah, most definitely. I don't like, which is so funny because I always try and like, okay, I'm a do, but I'm just like, no, like I usually, especially when I first started out, I would literally just use a live show as like a proof of concept for like a film or an excuse for Josie to test out her comedy routines. Even me, I'll be using it to be testing out my acting show reel, get my acting show reel up. And also a lot of time I just use it as an excuse just to like test out like being comfortable on stage because I don't really like playing on stage like that. And I think a lot of time it's just me kind of, I guess, playing the essence of what kind of the record is about. Do you know what I mean? So I think even for the recent shows I've done, which is kind of playing a lot of the stuff from Touched by an Angel, but it's just the essence of it. Like I'll play like usually it's the guitar version or and I'm usually also more improv. So a lot of my live shows is actually where the music is actually made as well. So I think it was never intentionally meant to be like that. I always like, I think I just found that I just had like a more enjoyable show when I did that. And I would still like, put in trickles of the music. And, I think this album has at least 4 songs on it, which is more than most that will perform, has like more, at least like 4 songs that I've already like performed recently, which is like, which one is it? Black Famous. I've performed that quite a lot. And 200 Bill. I've performed that quite a bit already. So I think there is like, there is like some songs that I am enjoying playing more, but it's usually just a different version. But yeah, I would say that I feel like my online music, I'd say, is a bit more, in my head anyway, is a bit more cutesy, and I think the live shows are a bit more not as cutesy, basically.
I feel you. It's kind of a random question, but I feel like you've been in like some pretty like fancy, like rich environments. Have you like worked like some weird like rich people like ritual show or some shit? Or like has someone ever like tried to like, I don't know, like get you to like sign like your soul to the devil or some shit like that?
You know what? The thing about it is, because I'd say like the past year or 2 years, I was saying these things have almost happened. Like, no, I've been in scenarios like that, but with me, yeah, I was living in Lucian. My bed was on the floor up until, was it 4 months ago? I don't care. I'd rather be broke. I would be broke. I'm okay. I'm okay. Like we went to like there was one time we went to this person's house who was like a very famous photographer, and he just had like all these African artifacts.
Ooh,
And,
you hate
and
that.
like
You hate to see
and he
it.
had like all these books, and they were trying to get me. They're like, come inside, dance. I said, hell no, I ain't going anywhere. I'm not going in. And this has been like the kind of the story of my life of just like, I guess like people trying to like get me involved to meet some of these people. And I've just been like, I've been scared. I've been like, catch me in Lucian. Catch me in Lucian. Like, and I feel like I don't really, and I think that's literally why I was still literally in Lucian, because I literally just like don't engage with that whenever I sense anything that feels very dark. And I'm like, cool, like the show is off, it's not happening. Cool, I don't even want your money, keep it. And I think it's so funny. My friend was like, oh, maybe that just makes you a socialist. I was like, fair enough, maybe it does. But I like money, but I just can't do it. Like I just can't like, and I think a lot of people in like within art world, they're happy to like to navigate and do all of that. I just think for myself, it would spiral me out. And I've seen it. I've seen it in the movies, man. I've seen it in the movies too. So I haven't like, I think I haven't signed. I think every time I've done like a release, I did a release with Hyperdub. I signed a what, £300, which is kind of crazy looking back. I signed a £300 or something of that sort EP with them for like 7 years, which is kind of nuts. But I didn't know who they were, and the guys seemed nice. We were gisted, so I was like, that was like the first time I went. But I'm pretty much like out of that now. But I think that was the only time. I think I'm pretty much I don't know how I feel about kind of engaging with that world. Like I'll pop in with a friend, like I'll go for a free drink. And even then it's like, I remember my friend was like, nothing is for free. if you even go for the free drink, you're even now part of it. I was like, oh God. And then we were both like, shit, are you gonna go to the free drink thing? And I feel like there's such a thing, like in London, we just be loving like a party with a free drink. And then all of a sudden you go in, it's like your rights of your image is owned for like 25 years.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't really engage like that or engage well, because I'll just be like, after a while, I'm just like, no, I'm out. I'm out. And that's why a lot of times I think with like galleries and a lot of these white spaces, like initially they book me because they think I'm going to be so cutesy and da da da. And then after a while, I'm like, why is that thing happening? Why did the black guys da da da? Why? I'm like, why? I'm just very like, I would ask questions. I'll be like, oh, why did this happen? Why did you say this? Why is there a noose? One time I got booked at like this like big museum. They had a noose in the room.
What?
And then I told them, I was like, I think they're like, oh no, darling, how could I ever put you in something like that? And then my friend was like, nah, it's a noose. So, and it was like, but they're like, no, it was just the wires of the. So I think a lot of time, like a lot of this world is I think based on like people just being quiet and just being like, no, I got patent it to get. It's like, I'm like, at what cost? Like I'm actually fine, because I think I then realized that like doing something with my friend and Mike, and like all like we like I did like audio for his like new film that's coming out next week. And I was like, wow, I feel safe. Like being around like my other friends, I feel safe.
Yeah.
Being around like doing things for like project spaces that are like maybe may not have the da 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 da. But to me, it's the da 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 da. So I think as well as like we also have to like kind of remove the kind of pedestal that we put a lot of these spaces. Do you know what I mean? I feel like, you know what I mean? Like doing something like clubs. I like clubs. The clubs are nice to me. I like them. Like, those places, they're like institutions to me. Do you know what I mean? And they're like the da 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 da. And I do feel like I don't like like I really just be going to stuff for free food. Like basically.
That's
Do you
fair.
guys feel like you've been in like situations like that where you could have kind of gone a certain route with certain things and you've been like, nah?
I don't think
Definitely.
I've gotten to that point like yet, but I'm like just interested to see if it happens. I don't think I would do it though either. I'm not that pressed, to be honest. And
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like it'll like pay off. I'm just telling
I feel
myself.
like, I think that's the thing. It's so funny when people talk about the sell your soul thing, because it's so subtle in a way that you wouldn't even notice. Because
Yeah.
even for me, like I realized that like selling your soul could even be like not standing up for like black people, and
Right.
like by standing up for a black person when you're doing a gallery thing, that could literally immediately blackball you. But I'm like, that ain't gonna blackball me because no one is God. Do you know what I mean? And it's one of those things where it's like, I think it's really important for people to not be scared anymore to
Yeah.
speak up, not to be scared to be like, actually, this person is very problematic. I am not gonna work with them, and I will be fine regardless. And I think that's one thing I realized with like whether it's my friends or even myself. I'm like, I'll be fine regardless. Yeah. I could just go and get a job in a library, you know, just chill.
Right. And it's cool, like you were talking about working with Mike, and like there are people in spaces now that you don't even necessarily need to like get, the big institutional like support to do shows or like put stuff together. Like y'all can really do it yourselves.
I
Because you
think
have
that's
your
what.
own label, right?
Yeah. I have I made one label called ijn.inc. That was like in response to like every label in London being like, not today, not today. But I was like, no, but I was supposed to put it out in September. So then I had to like rush and like make a label that was just like IGN means in Jesus' name. And then I then it was kind of in response of just wanting to release my own stuff. You have to make a label name. So I then made a name called Parkwuud, like the Parkwuud Entertainment, which I guess to some is a play on like Beyonce's Parkwuud Entertainment label. So I thought, how cool would it be just to have a label called Parkwuud where I release my stuff, but also just like kind of anyone's. Like if someone wanted to put out like an audiobook, if someone wanted to put out like I remember there was this boy I was talking to who had like made like instrumental guitar Christian music. I was like obsessed, and like just anything, and like being able to just like have that in the ether. And I think that was why I guess created that. Like I feel like as a label head, I really just be like, upload on YouTube. I'm like YouTube. But I think even with that label, I just kind of rely on, I think with Parkwuud, my approach is just like real strong word of mouth. Meaning like without press, like people can get shows. Without PR, you can get shows. You can kind of spread the word. Do you know what I mean? And get stuff to people without any of these like kind of monetary resources. And that's what I've just kind of been doing mainly, I guess, with the label.
Is that your hesitation to join like social media as well? Like for you as like an artist to like promote your stuff, is that why it's like sort of more important for you to have like word of mouth than like to be on social media?
You know what's so funny? I actually had Instagram, you know. Yeah, I actually had Instagram, and in hindsight, I had like I guess, yeah, quite a few like followers actually, which was like looking back, it's just like I was just so removed from it. Like
When did you get rid of it?
Okay, so
yeah, give me the lowdown.
I think the lowdown is basically like I had Instagram, and actually my approach to using Instagram was very much I felt very free on Instagram. Like I'd really just post about my normal job when I had a normal job anyway at the time. But I was like, it's my normal job, me and my friends, like fights that's happening outside my house. Like I really, and then I'll post about my stuff, but I wouldn't even post about like my stuff like all the time. But I would just post about like fun things, and I would follow randomized friends. Like I wouldn't like, you know, people like follow all the. I'll just follow like, okay, I'm gonna follow Lou and maybe not follow Josie because I see Josie all the time. And like, and I think how my social media was pretty fun. And I feel like that's why people are like, come back. But I think the main reason is just because I remember I deleted it and then I came back again and I just didn't like the interface. I feel like my friend was like, oh, I think this is like your autism coming through. And I feel like I'm definitely on the spectrum in that sense. Like I just didn't like the interface, the way it physically looked. And I just was like, ugh. I was like, ew, not for me. Whereas like YouTube, I love YouTube. I think YouTube is so sick. I like the way they've kept it exactly as it is. I just think it's just a great, like if this was a website I made, I'd be gassed. And I think that's why I like physically how it looks. But on Instagram, I think Instagram is cool, but I just don't really like the design of it really.
Right, that's fair.
So it's kind of less about me being but yeah, I think now that I'm not on social media, is more heavily so now. It is over the past few years is actually most things have, I guess, relied on word of mouth. Yeah, basically.
What are you listening to right now in terms of like music? I know you're a big Brandy fan. I saw that. I read that somewhere that you.
You know what? These journalists, they really milked it. They really
did they milk that? Okay.
They really milked that shit. I said that because I remember one time I was like, I like Brandy. Brandy inspired her. I was like, yeah. Because but wait, I'm trying to think what I was listening to recently. Let's see.
Yeah, they really did milk that because that was like a big part of that. Not a big part, but I mean, they just really said
I feel like
Brandy inspired artists.
I feel like with like white journalists, yeah, like you say one thing and they just run with it. I remember I said, oh, I grew up listening to like gospel, but Christian music, which my mom included. My mom felt Coldplay fell into that bracket. The way then people were like, the gospel drone artists, the gospel. I said, oh shit. I'm not like that's not just like my life. Like it's just like it's just me mentioning. So I feel like I feel like it's really funny. They like to like kind of take something and then like kind of pull, which I can see why they do that. But No, I do. You know what? Why am I capping? I do love Brandy though. I do love Brandy because she's just like the queen of stacking. And she's the queen of stacking. And I think growing up, listening to Brandy, and I was like, oh, so this is how you can layer. This is how you can layer vocals. And I think that became even more fun for me to then like use my voice as an instrument to then like okay, maybe my vocals will be like the fourth layer and like almost like mix it as if it was an additional piano. I mean, it doesn't need to be like kind of so high in the mix. So you know what I'm trying to look for? I'm trying to look for what I've been listening to recently. It's really funny. So actually, what I was listening to recently, which is so funny because I'm actually doing a video for him recently, so it feels like a plug. Listen to Rome Streets. Yeah, Joe Badass. I'm shooting a video for him next week.
That's
and
that's lit.
I think it's gonna be really fun. It's really weird because I go through phases where I think this is maybe because like I've just been playing loads of shows and I've just been like in kind of rehearsal mode where I just don't listen to music and I'll just watch shows that have music in it. So I was watching like Love and Hip Hop Miami, and then it then got me in this like weird trickle effect, like loophole into like Trick Daddy, and I was like, oh my, I was like Trick Daddy, and I was like, damn, he can rap. Like this is he needs to make a comeback. And I was just like, wow, like this is really sick. I was listening back to like old Trina, listen to Tommy Wright, Third. I always go through phases where like I listen to him obsessively, like from morning to night, and I'll just watch a TV show in between. So I think pretty much a lot of it's just been kind of like southern based, Miami based like artists, more like the legacy acts as well. Because I feel like Love and Hip Hop just like they always just remind me of artists that I've kind of forgotten about.
Yeah, OGs.
Yeah, the OGs.
Literally,
so
yeah.
What was that? Oh wait, you know what? This is what I was listening to as well. What's this song called? What's his name? Yeah. You know Troy Ave?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Dear Hater, I won. It's my favorite. I love it so much.
I do like that song as well.
The video is one of the best videos I've ever seen. This video is an art piece. If you watch it, you guys will be shook. It's like, I'm like, wow, this guy is
seen
crazy.
This video.
What's it called?
Dear Hater, I won.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the video is so good. I was like, literally, I watched it and I was like this. Because I was like, wow, how do I get on their editing team with Troy Ave? So, oh yeah, whenever he has beef with someone, I can just like help him just put together a video.
He was beefing Attack Stone and shit.
But this is the kind of stuff that I want.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of shit that I really want to do. It's just like I just need to be on his team.
Oh, it's like court documents are like the first thing that pops up. I'm dead.
No, it's perfect. I think it's perfect. Also, like I'm screaming because this is literally the reference of what I really want to do for Thingy's video. Rome. I want to get like some archive.
You told.
It's really good. And that's why I think about music is so funny because people can like kind of like take an essence or like a cadence or like a bravado or like someone could just have a great flow and everyone's just gassed. But then it's like, wait a minute, what have you actually said anything that is giving me an inkling of what you're actually about and who you actually, and I think that's something which is really funny because I just sent you guys this link about this girl called TeeZandos. I saw her play, and personally for me, I think she's perfect. One of my favorite rappers, and it's so funny because her recent song is kind of like it's like kind of like a EDM-y, like pop song.
Mhm.
But like this link I sent you, so she just talks about her life, and it's pretty straightforward. Like, and almost throughout the years, you can even see it change. Like, so even like her most recent song is just like a pop song about her having a good day, because literally she doesn't always have the best days. And I feel like seeing and hearing her music feels so truthful that
Mhm.
I don't know.
That's tough.
But then she just works with her and her friend I Song. They just be doing their thing, and she literally just
I
talks about her.
song is that the one who made that one R&B
Yeah.
drill song a while ago? That was super hard.
Yeah, no, it's hard.
But I saw her play at this party that was literally like some E-Kid drain gang ass party where it was just noise and ambient, and then she headlined, and I was like, ah!
That's
Like,
kind of dope.
that's the only reason I like London, for like little things like that, because it really be like you can go to a show where you'd see her and then you'd see like just like noise artists as well.
Mm.
Also, I like the Klein pref on the top.
Yeah.
That's it.
I was gonna actually my next question is gonna talk about your new music video, or newest one, for DJ drop. And yeah, a lot of the visuals on this are shot in New York, right?
Oh yeah, all of it is all in. It's in Wall Street and the Bronx.
Facts. And it was drone footage, right? Did
Yeah.
you get to fly the drone at all?
I did at points, but mainly who actually shot this was Massimo, who is just a G. But he, fun facts of the day, he did the Ice Spice. I remember that was like the winning. I mean, because I remember my friend said it. She's like, he did the Ice Spice deli video. I was like, amazing, I'm sold. And it was really fun for like Massimo just to do something that was a bit more like it was a bit more structural, kind of like these parts as well. So yeah, we shot this in the city.
Did you come in with a direction at all, or were you willing to like hand this over?
Like I had like some ideas that were like floating by, and I remember at that period it was very funny because I just felt like I feel like feeling like trapped and like feeling like alone. And I remember like the only way I could like express that was literally through the paper bag. Like the plastic bag. I was like, oh. And then I then started to think about like kind of the city hustle of like New York capitalism, and like the sterileness of that, of me even existing in that at that point. And then I wanted to then flip it between kind of like also being, I think it was a mixture of like me thinking a lot of like kind of like urban mapping stuff, where it was just like literally like how things are built and designed. And so I think I kind of wanted to flip between kind of the city, and then flip between kind of the Bronx as well, and then flip between me in the city again, kind of existed in my kind of Vim, head to toe Vim, still kind of in the city, but constantly like being surveilled as well. Because I think surveillance is, I guess, like something that I often like I think about, and I try and hide away from it as well. But it's also something that I like. That's, I guess, like a constant theme within my work, is just like this idea of being surveilled as well. So yeah. But yeah, pretty much we wanted to make the plastic bag almost like a character in itself, kind of like, and I feel like kind of anyone that's like kind of even like growing up in America, I'm sure, but I think being like black navigating, I
Yeah.
feel like everyone kind of felt like that plastic bag. And I remember thinking of like the Katy Perry reference, do you ever feel like a plastic bag? And that kind of stuck with me as well. That plastic bag line by her. And I kind of wanted to hold it for at least half of the video before I kind of come in as well.
Yeah. That's sick. it's cool getting like that background on it. I mean, I feel like your music videos are something that's really like stand out or like specific to you. Like I haven't really seen any videos like this before I came across yours. They're kind of scary too. I just wanted to play like this is the music video I saw, the first music video, and I was just
Claim It.
like, what for Claim It, yeah. What what programs are you using to make these like these facial?
A lot of this is just like Adobe Premiere. It's really funny with it's funny that it's an interesting the scary element because I feel like I come in waves. Like more time I do. If I don't really like I do. It's interesting the things I find scary. Like so, it's really funny. So like Ipari Park, I found me being in that video scary. I was like, ugh. Like I was like, ugh, because it just felt like I felt so like I think how happy I was feeling in the video was almost disorientating to me. I had this idea for Claim It, and I remember it's so funny. I really like this. I really liked this video by Kendrick Lamar called Element, and I remember I was like, who shot it? And then it was this guy called Nicholas, and I just sent him an email. I was like, oh, you're sick. We should work together. And I think I wanted him to direct it for me or whatever. And then he just happened to live in Berlin and he saw me play and he was like, why don't we just do it together? And I was like, what? And then we ended up doing this video. And I remember there was like, it stemmed from, I guess, maybe not a Vine, a TikTok or something of some kids being like, oh, this is how we feel when we listen to your music. And I was like, oh, well, this is how I feel when people center things around me. And then the Claim It video then kind of like had this thing of this, like, obviously it's shot through my eyes and kind of like, so it's kind of weird. It's like kind of, there's a lot of things in this video that is like, I guess staged, but there's also a lot of things in the video that just weren't, that just happened. So that's the producer of the video, Jess, who's in the pink. And but there's like actual like things that are like, I think that's where I feel like a lot of my videos, I think that I guess is what could make it scary, because I think the line that blurs between like what is real and what is like staged becomes very, very strong, to the point that I like even Care is like over there. That's like yeah, which I'll send you guys the link, but that was like my first feature film and that was the trailer for it, so it doesn't yeah. But this was like, I guess, like a part autobiography, musical, animation. But the thing about that, this is more scary to me because this was literally like 70% of it is literally a documentary of like my life.
Right.
And the rest is like guided through animations and whatever. And I feel like because the line blurs a lot with a lot of my stuff, I guess that's why it could be I feel like that's why it could be scary. Because even for myself, it's like, it's not even about like it being scary. It's like actually OJ Simpson is about it just kind of being like it's like talking about things that I wouldn't necessarily talk about. Like even with Claim It, like it's just like, that's just my friends. Like the boys in the video, it's just my friends. Like Josie dancing, it's just like, you know, people getting drunk and things happening, and it's like, this is just kind of like my real life. So I think I'm always like, I feel like whenever people have like, they see it and they have their opinions, whether it's like scared or fear or happy or joy or whatever, I can see why, just because it's like, I feel like with a lot of my stuff, because I pull back from some far back memory that I don't go back into.
Mm-hmm.
I just upload it and I just keep it moving. I can see why it's like, because even Claim It to me, it's like, I can see, but I think it's even more scary for the people that were in the video, kind of seeing what happened that night and seeing how it panned out as well. So that's very interesting. Whereas when we were doing the Ipari Park video, the only reason why like that video is more scary. The Ipari Park video is more to me. Not anymore. I like it now. Like obviously, of
Yeah,
course, I love the video, but I think I don't like necessarily being in videos.
that's
Like
fair.
I don't think it's central to kind of I don't think it's central to a story need the artist having to be in the video. That's why one of my favorite moments when Jay-Z, when he did the 4/4 album and he had like himself, he was like Mickey Mouse. I think it was like
Yeah.
in the I was like, oh my God, iconic, amazing. Because I was like, period. Like you've already been in videos. We like that, we don't need that. But whereas weirdly enough in Ipari Park, why it's for me, it feels scary because it feels like me. Like even the outfit I'm wearing in the beginning. That's why I woke up in the morning. It's in the Airbnb that we were staying in. That's literally what I was wearing in the morning. That was our bathroom that I wanted to shoot Mike in. Like there and like I think like even us at the beach. Like I remember I really wanted like a friends moment. Like I wanted like like a black friends moment.
Yeah.
Like almost like it feeling like a trailer for a new TV show. So I think even when like that's why I was laughing at the name. I made this name called Danny Gubber for this alias, the alias that I directed, co-directed Mike's video for. And I just wanted to kind of have the video almost feel like, even though Cynthia wanted it to like play around with like R&B tropes, but I also wanted it to also at points feel like it could be like a trailer for like a new black TV show.
True.
Yeah. And so that's why in the second half, when the friends are introduced, I was like, okay. That's why I had this idea of like, okay, this could be like a great like proof of concept of like a new TV show where it's just like uni students. As and I think it's really funny because even with this, the reason why this is really eerie, this video for me, is because the shot of Mike on the bed, for me, I really wanted to get that because, and even the shot of me in the bed, because that's very true to my life at the time. My bed was on the floor. And like, it's like, yeah, we're experiencing all these amazing moments and these like dreamlike moments. But the reality is like, we're still happy, but we're still on the floor. And I mean, and I think that like kind of like flipping between that was very important for me. So I think even with this video, it was like, because I don't know. I think there's something I find it something interesting and weird about like total happiness. Like total happiness is what like eerie's me out, and that's why this video freaks me out. Because I'm like watching, I'm like, shit, girl, why are you smiling like this? But I was like, but I know I was laughing because when I'm going like this, I think Neonte was like this in the corner like this. And then like him and Tim were like doing something funny. I know they were doing something funny, and that's why I was chuckling. And I think that in itself is like, that's very like eerie. I don't know. I think that for me is like very, very, very eerie. Whereas weirdly enough, like my own stuff, I really just be like, okay, I've made it. I'm on to the next, because I've kind of like let it out. You know what I mean? I think it's like, like I think, yeah, I've kind of let out internally how I feel, and I guess it's an element of just kind of showing people your diary, the good parts. So I think that's why like my YouTube channel was like, honestly, it's the most fun thing for myself to like. I haven't updated stuff, uploaded it more things on it yet, but that's why I really love like making like just tiny videos, like short films about, and just kind of using it as an excuse just to kind of flip between, yeah, this video, Listen and Sees, one of my favorites, just because it's literally just me and my friend talking, and we're just all in the car, and my friend's talking about, they're just talking about Massimo, they're just talking about like all sorts. And but this is actually real. This is not like it's not like staged or scripted. And like I think my own Maurice is like it's literally just a show reel. My own Maurice is just a show reel for me to show that I could do a a southern accent. I remember it was like a show reel for because I remember I made my stories and I like sent Adult Swim a message.
Yeah.
And they were like, we're focusing on animation at the moment, so not interested. I was like, okay, cool.
So damn.
It's so funny. Well, I feel like British people can imitate Americans so easily. Just well, not even a hot take. I feel like that's pretty common.
Would you want to get more into like directing music videos that aren't your own and like other people's? Because it seems like you're kind of doing that already.
I think that's honestly generally like my favorite thing. Like it's I love when it's to do with anything but me. Cause like me, that's his own thing, and that's quite isolated. Like even doing DJ job and working with other people was a lot for me, just because I was like, oh god, working with other people, and that some people I know, some I didn't know. That was quite a lot, but I love doing stuff with other people because I'm able to just it's that thing of like you're able to just propagate ideas you have about things into like, because even with the Rome Streets video, oh now I'm even doing research into like Windrush era, doing like I'm treating that shit as like a documentary, and
Yeah.
it's like and like you kind of doing that through him, through his words. It's way more than just it just existing on just me. So I think that's one of the most I have way more fun when I'm doing stuff for other people, basically.
I think one thing I find super interesting, just from like talking to you, is just I would characterize. I mean, I think your music is also like super cinematic, not just in your videos, but like in your music itself, with like how layered it is. I think with different sounds and just sort of how, in general, I think to me, I would I think of it as sort of experimental. But do you think of yourself as the music that you make as experimental, or do you see yourself drawing inspiration from other artists who similarly would be seen in the same light as you?
I don't know. Like, I think the term experimental has been used so much at this point that I'm like, I don't know what that word means. Because my
Yeah.
thing is, I think, I remember people called me experimental because I just didn't use a preset.
Mhm.
And and I think I remember I didn't know how to play drums. So for me, naturally, it was just like, oh, I'm gonna just record sounds in the house. And like, and I would then turn that into a drum or manipulate it so it sounds like a drum. And like, I guess
Yeah.
that was the term experimental came, because I guess that is just like kind of using all these resources and kind of, I guess, experimenting with it. So I guess that's the element, I guess, that makes experimental. But I don't think like like I don't think it's that I don't know. I don't know. Like I don't really I think that it's always been a term that I just don't understand. Like I would say I think Soulja Boy is experimental. If we're gonna even put that term, because I just feel like it's some like experimental is like, I guess in my head it's like someone that goes, I think I don't like I think I think for myself, I'm definitely like, I feel like at points, I'm definitely like, at points, not all the time, I'm like, oh, wow, my younger self would be happy that
Mhm.
and my younger self would be shocked. I'd be like, whoa. But I do feel like, in terms of like, I definitely pulled a lot of stuff growing up from Soulja Boy, just because like, I think I feel like I followed like the steps of like, whenever he made songs or beats that were just like, whoa, it's like, I was generally like, what the hell is this? This is amazing. And then he'd make these crazy beats, and he would just do like the weirdest flow on it. And then, he would make something weird, a beat, and he would just give it to Nikki or give it to whoever. And I was like, this is weird. And I guess that influenced me not feeling shocked. Like I'd make something, I can make something and it'd be like, and it'll have like a piano chord, a da da da, and a thing droned out. But I'm like, yeah, because Soulja Boy would have done the same.
Facts.
He would have just added a hi-hat over it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I feel like kind of, I guess like a lot of the stuff that played a big part of that was, I guess, hip hop.
Mhm.
Um, played a big part of that. I always, yeah, hip hop. I say Soulja Boy just because. I say Nicki just because like she had like the weirdest songs. So I think when I started making songs that were like, I guess to other people they deemed experimental, it didn't feel, even though I wasn't listening to experimental music or like ambient and all these things, it didn't feel weird or like that crazy to me because a lot of it's basically like I feel like with some of my stuff I make is like all you gotta do is just put a little hi-hat, get Mick Mill. I honestly like I have some songs that or even on the album that like I can hear Mick Mill on this. I can hear Mick Mill with this. You can sample a little chunk from this. And I feel like but a lot of it is mainly come from hip hop, is mainly come from like TV shows.
Mhm.
Interludes in TV shows, interludes in Moesha, and all these things that I was like, or even Love and Hip Hop. Love and Hip Hop. I'll be watching Love and Hip Hop growing up, and the music that they would use for the scenes
Yeah, like the transition scenes and shit.
was,
Yeah.
was perfect. So obviously,
That
if
shit
I'm
was
making my
hard.
own,
It
exactly. So if I'm
was
making my
actually
own
always
thing,
perfect.
my brain is like the way my brain is like, oh, I think Mona Scott would use this. She would use this. So then it's fine. And it didn't feel that like crazy because it was all these sounds I knew, whether I've heard it in Love and Hip Hop or whether I'd heard it in Nollywood films. Because also I'm Nigerian as well. So growing up hearing like it wasn't like I'm like, yo, Nigerian artists are crazy. And like especially a lot of like Fuji artists, a lot of like the like kind of more Islamic musicians like Wasiu and Sophia, they to me, their music is like, I'll show you Sophia. Her name is Sophia, write it down. And Sophia. But like these were people that like I just grew up listening to. So I think I guess those were the influences, and I guess those are the people that kind of made me feel like what I'm doing wasn't that weird.
Yeah.
As well.
What's
That makes a lot of sense.
I had two questions. What is like your favorite city that they do Love and Hip Hop in? And the other one is what's your favorite Soulja Boy era?
Okay, my favorite city where they do love. Okay, so
I
initially
think
it was
there's a wrong
Atlanta.
answer to this too.
You know what? There isn't even. Okay, I'm torn. So when I was younger, I used to like. My introduction was Love and Hip Hop Atlanta.
Obviously, makes sense.
And but then the older I got, I was like, ugh. It kind of gave me the ick because it was just like it just wasn't. It wasn't giving what it was supposed to give, because the whole point of the show was supposed to be, Mona Scott, she literally was like, she managed like Missy, 50 Cent. So for me, I was like, oh, amazing, like she's gonna do like a show that's just like actually like it's like the last remaining archive hip hop show, and it kind of took a different turn. So
Yeah,
I've been rewatching the Love and Hip Hop New York one.
sure.
Insane,
Yeah.
incredible,
Insane. That was insane. Yeah.
That's with Joe
incredible.
Budden, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
And Peter Guns as well, the one who
Yeah,
has like
Peter
Yeah,
Guns with
like
all the
million kids.
kids and shit.
yeah, and they'll be talking about like stuff I don't actually stuff that I don't know about. They'll be like, oh, publishing and distribution and rights stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't even know about that. So I feel like I really just be learning stuff. Instead of calling a lawyer, I'll be watching Love and Hip Hop. My favorite Love and Hip Hop one currently now is Miami. I am sorry, Miami is the best because
I
it
love the
actually
Trick and Trina beef. That one is like super fun to me.
the last season was so good. I genuinely was like because it does what it was supposed to give. Like it actually talks about music. It actually shows like Trick Daddy working on a song. It had even a bit with like this other girl called Zoe, who's like this new artist, how like the process of her writing a song and then the reality because she's actually living in her studio. And I was like, wow. And it was just like introducing me to like just like new artists as well. So I feel like Love and Hip Hop Miami, and it's a bit funny, it's a bit fun, and it's just really just centered around the studio. And I think I like that. Like I think they're trying to bring it back more to like the music making, whether the music comes out or not, I think it's really important for people to know, see the music making of what it takes to make a song, or what it takes to release a song, or those other elements. And then I guess my favorite Soulja Boy era, I'm not gonna lie, was when he was beefing with everyone. When he with Migos, with Lil Yachty.
Gucci bandana era.
Yeah.
That era finished me, because he was just making videos manically, like, and I was like, oh, the videos literally look like videos that I wish I worked on with him. Like, I wish he just called me to just help him edit. Like, that's all I wanted. This is my dream in life, is just to be on him, Troy Ave, help him edit his videos, make Instagram reels for Megan Thee Stallion, and then just do a little TikTok with Sexy Red, and I will be happy. I'll be happy. It's just the easy life. Because when he made that Soulja Boy and the beef song and the video, I literally lost my mind. I was like, this is one of the best artists I've ever come across. And I always thought about that with Soulja Boy, because I always felt like with Soulja Boy, if you even took away, if people didn't know it was Soulja Boy, and they even just had put all his instrumentals in a folder and they released it on a Warp Records or da 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 da, people will be like, oh my god, this is the most experimental. People will be like, meet the new da 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 da, meet the new experimental producer changing the game. But because it's Soulja Boy, there's still this thing of people like, because he's like a troll. But I'm like, yeah, he's a troll and it's all of this, but like, let's not get it twisted. This is the most experimental producer.
Facts. People forget Soulja Boy like makes all of his beats for the most part, especially in the beginning.
Yeah, like,
I mean, it's also like the internet. Like, who was else using
like
an internet like that before Soulja Boy?
It's the original.
Like the perfect storm.
I don't know. I really like Soulja Boy, just because he'd really be like, I think there's a lot of I remember even that beef era that he had with everyone. That was when he made the most manic beats. And I just remember just thinking, oh my God, if those beats, like, it's the context of how people see people is so interesting, because I was like, if those beats were isolated and it was just released through one of these experimental labels, or do you know what I mean? People would be like, oh my God, this is the new Aphex, this is the new da da da. But because people know it's like this boy, especially this black boy, that it's just this, oh, it's just Soulja Boy. It's just Soulja Boy. It's like, actually, no, like, I think we should also put his instrumentals up there when we're also discussing like kind of like experimental kind of like composers. He should also be up there as well.
Facts. I agree.
No, that's so true.
So Touched by an Angel is the new project you got coming out. When did you start like working on it?
I feel like I started like last year, and then I was overthinking it, and I had to just stop. And then I did a few live shows, and then a lot of music from those live shows, I just recorded it and I just put it on the record as well. So I feel like there's like 3 or 4 songs that came straight from, is literally straightly been improved live.
Facts.
As well. So I think it's been like a year, but then it came together maybe like this year, and there was a space of 2 months where it was just like, I was like, okay, oh look, this is it. And especially I remember when there's one song called 200 Bill with my bandmate Kush and Matana Roberts, who's one of my favorite jazz musicians. And once they came on that, I was like, yep, we good. I was like, we good. And I think it was just like, it just felt right. And I think it was a situation of just like resequencing things. I think the minute I resequenced things and then DJ dropped, then got made, and then that was like moved here and this, and I was like, okay, like the record is done now.
For 200 Bill, like how many instruments are on there? Because it sounds like there are just so many like instruments being played at throughout the whole track. I'm just curious, like how many
It's really,
involved?
it's technically like four, five. So there's like sax, trumpet from their end. I'm doing a little bit of sax, just small beat beat bop. Playing piano, but that's also then being reprocessed
Mm-hmm.
and like chopped up into like little. And I've got flute. No, is it not flute? Is it flute? No, recorder. And that's really it. Like a lot of the other sounds is just like sounds from like a tunnel or like outside my house, and
What?
just kind of just like um dragged into the mix. A lot of time I just really be using like a voice, and I just be reprocessing it in different ways as well.
Got you. So you get a lot of like your samples just off your phone, like walking around, and you just hear some shit.
I think when I first started, yeah. I think in the past year, no, I think most of it would be things within in my peripheral. Like it's not yeah, I haven't gone on my phone in a while actually to like record stuff, but mainly just from like things right in front of me. So if it's like if I'm trying to do a certain sound I can't do, I'll just use a voice to just kind of map it out, and I'll use like another instrument to kind of almost trick people into thinking. Like I remember I had like a harmonica, and I just slowed it down and then added some bass to it, and it kind of sounded like a tuba.
Word.
So I spend a lot of time is like kind of brainstorming ideas of how to kind of flip an instrument into this, or someone's voice into a sax, or a flute, or even like a tap, but most of the time it's just really just things in like within my peripheral, and that was usually just like things within my room.
Facts. So where did you record like most of the project? It sounds like it was kind of all around, like from different live shows, and then like were you in your room? And
It was a mixture of my room in solitude, and then the live shows, which was like actually like definitely surprising to me, because I think a lot of the ones that were from, I'm trying to remember what songs were, a lot of the songs from the live shows, there is no way I could make that. There's no way I could even make that in.
yeah,
I could have made that because I would have just overthought. I would just have just been like so like ah like, because it's like even what song was it? No weapon shall form against me. That was made live. That there's just no way I was able to just
yeah,
make that. I didn't say black power mean it, just because also like a lot of time when I like play live shows and it's improv, that's when everything falls into place, because I usually with me that's what happens. Like the minute I just let go, it's then like everything falls into place.
facts.
So even with DJ drop, that was made for that's for live from a live show, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So DJ drop was literally from a live show, and that's why you can hear like everything slowly building, because it literally was like I was literally just like improving. And that's why I like that. I think I was drunk as well. I was like, stop planning the building. Yeah. Stop planning. And I had my little pedal. And I was just like, whereas like, I wouldn't do that if I was at home, because I was just like, I'm like, if I'm making things and I'm alone, it could be more internal and reflective, because I'm just alone.
Yeah.
Whereas like certain things that took form, that were like, I guess my favorite ones were usually the ones that were made for doing live shows, I guess.
Do you go to like the studio ever? Like to do any stuff, or are you just in the house or in your room, or you know?
Um, yeah, sometimes, not all the time. Like I'm funny. I really would go to record like one little thing, and like just one tiny thing, and like, but more times I think over the years I've just gotten really into the process of actually recording. And I guess that's like engineering and stuff like that, sound engineering. I've really kind of gone into that of being like, okay, how can I record this that it sounds like it's in a studio? And it's just kind of ways you place the microphones, ways how there's ways of techniques on how you can record and how you can kind of achieve that effect without necessarily going to a studio.
You enjoy that tedious aspect of it? Like some artists we've talked to have been like, it's just the most tedious thing in the world. Like I think with like an editing background, like you were like, do you find that bit like to be
That's the
entertaining
fun
for yourself?
part. Yeah, that's the fun part for me, because I'm like, I recorded that in my, you know what I mean? I think going to the studio is cool, and like, but it's just like it feels so sterile. Like if I'm gonna go to the studio, this better be for some like real corporate shit. And it's like, and like if you ever hear a studio track by me, just know it's corporate. This is full the bag, because like, when I'm making stuff for myself, I'm like, I don't need to do that. Like I'm just making something for myself. Like we don't need to go to a sterile environment that is like. And to be fair, I have seen like some studios that like, my friend Mika has a studio which is so cutesy and so nice and cozy, and I have jammed there, and you know, I'm sure if I found more studios that were like, but I think my process of making music is not like, I'm off today to make music. It's like I'm watching TV and I'm just like, oh cool, oh this is a cool idea, oh let me record this, and then a few months later coming back to that, or like maybe even a few weeks later building on that with a friend. But it's not a thing where I'm like,
yeah, facts. I mean, I definitely thought it was like recorded in like, you know, a major studio with like a bunch of like synths surrounding you and shit like that. So that's lit that you were able to, that you're doing this just kind of on, you know, in your crib, or you know, it's getting like live recordings and stuff like that. That's honestly impressive and
I
shows
think I
their
also,
skill at mixing stuff.
thank you so much. I think also I just really like it's so funny, Jason Goz, he mastered my last, no, not the last time, he mastered Hamatan. And I love him because he comes from an analog background. I'm really trying to be like him. And like I just love like kind of like an analog sound. Like, you know, when it's just like, it's just, I like when things just sound old. like I remember that was like I remember for years, I just love it. Something sounded like it was from the 1950s or like 1940s, but it's obviously we're in 2023. And I think like kind of playing around with kind of these like old school sound like techniques is something I found more interesting to play around with, especially because I was making a lot of this music on my Dell computer. Like I just got a MacBook, which it's a wrap. You're gonna hear me make some fucking Metro booming beats. but I think like having a Dell, I'm kind of working like with this like kind of old school. Everything just felt old. Everything I had just felt old. So it meant I had to just kind of be more kind of smart about how I record, when I record. Like, you know, like do I wait till after 7 p.m. when the market closes, or do I do this? You know what I mean? And like, how do I block out sound and soundproof my room, and like, or what parts of the house to record in? Do you know what I mean? Like maybe recording sax in the bathroom and like playing around with these things, and that became more fun for me. I think that element of, I guess, making music and that was more fun for me.
How'd you come up with the names for all your songs? Like, what's that process look like for you?
Yeah, you got some like elite names for songs.
Yeah.
Thank you. I feel like it's not, I feel like sometimes I'll really be just like quite self-explanatory. It's quite like I remember there was one song was like, oh, don't flop TV. It's literally because it's like a UK battle rap channel that I had a friend that like was like hosted it when I was younger, and I used to go. And I was like, it's very, and I was like, oh, and then that song just kind of reminded me of the essence of what happened with that channel. And I think so sometimes I could be like quite more time I'm just like quite it's quite self-explanatory in the sense of it's quite obvious. Like DJ drop is like cool because I've got a DJ drop. I remember thinking before going into Black Timbs, I was like, ugh, I can't just go into Black Timbs. It needs a DJ drop before it goes in to the piano track.
Yeah.
Because even for me, I just wouldn't want to listen to the piano track. Just it goes straight into the piano track. I want to hear like a DJ just because also like growing up, like going to like kind of like grime gigs, going to like all these like shows when I was younger. You got an MC, you got a host. So even in that sense, that was why even when DJ dropped, it was like I had like part of my brain was like, oh, I need to have a South London shout out because that's what you do when you have a song or you have a. And then and so I feel like a lot of them quite self-explanatory. I guess with Black Famous, I just found it the idea funny that like certain people just being like to me they're famous to me, and I guess that's why we call them like that idea where the idea of like Black famous. And I remember when I was writing the song, because it's the only song on the record where I guess I quotation mark like rap, and even that was just funny because I was like, I went somewhere, someone was like, you're famous. I said, no, I'm not. Like, I'm on the floor. I'm in South. Like, until my life changes, like, I don't know what. But then I was like, oh, shit, Black famous. People go, oh, you're famous on Twitter. People like, oh, they're Twitter famous. They did it. I was like, eh. And I remember that just like, I think when I then wrote the song, I just remember writing, I was like, yeah, the lyrics was like, I just look around, what do I see? No, because I was like, started from the bottom man, still in the bottom man, copper man, only fans, drop a body bag, sweet girl, big dreams are called a flea bag. What you mean? Cause she was 19, face beat, hair bright green, ready for the street. She ain't ready for the dream. And I remember just like, I was just literally, because I remember when I wrote the start from the bottom line, I was laughing because I was like, oh, she started from the bottom. But then I was like, oh, wait, my bed is on the floor. I was like, I was still on the bottom. And then I remember just like writing this thing. And I was like, oh, I guess this is what it is. This is Black famous. This is, and I just like it made me just start to think about kind of like people that for me, they're famous, but bro, they're not like, do you know what I mean? They're not on BBC News. They're not on like, they're not even written about, but it's like that kind of like, them from the street, them from like your neighborhood or even people like, how like people talk about Kiki Palmer, like to Black people, Kiki Palmer she is like da 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 da. And I remember one time she was like, well, not really, like I still have to audition, I still have to do these things, I'm not actually that big. And I remember being like, what, you're famous to me, you are. And I think I remember that song was like, I guess the most like intentional kind of titling, and that was mainly guided through like what I wrote for Black famous, basically.
You plan on dropping any visuals for this project?
I've got a video coming out for Black Timbs in like 3 days, 4 days. Oh, 3 days. Oh my god, you see, I keep forgetting. But that's like really cute. It's like an animation. I made like an animation. And then it cuts into like a footage of me at like my own live show. But the footage of it just looks so booky. It just looks so like, it looks like it reminds me of something of what's that Harry Potter Deadly Hallows. It looks like the cover art of it. Yeah, so I was like, ooh, eerie. But yeah, so that comes out soon. And I think I want to make some more videos. I think I like making videos. I think that's an element in like my life that I actually have. I feel like I have like, I feel like I enjoy the most. I feel like sometimes I'll just be making things so I could just make a video or like make a documentary or make whatever. It's not necessarily about kind of making the music video, but it's just more about like just making something that I can use as an excuse to talk about something.
What DAW do you use? Are you on Ableton? Is that what you use to make? That makes sense.
I use Ableton. I mainly use it just to arrange things. and then maybe midway into my process, then I kind of mess with it. But I always like to see how much I can do without actually doing anything.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why, like, for years I was just using Audacity. I just use it. I use Audacity and make stuff like playing a video game. I'll just play games and just like record myself and just like chop it and like kind of that. Whereas like now, I think I've found like a kind of nice routine with Ableton. But even then, it's like my main thing is just like that I enjoy to make stuff is just improv. So a lot of it's just improv and then just recording it as well. I'm recording the improv and then just uploading that, having that as the track as well.
You like make websites? Because I crossed like a couple websites. One for care. And it's for the movie / play. And it's just really
it's for the movie.
It's for the movie.
So for people that haven't got to see it, it's a kind of a website that kind of gives Easter eggs about what the story is about. And I kind of, the more you click into the pictures, the more things like piece together, even the writing with the mission statement, or even if you refresh the page, there's like, and it's just basically, it's all like little Easter eggs as well. Because I kind of realized there was like a lot of people that wouldn't be able to see the film yet, so I kind of wanted to kind of make something that kind of gives things away without kind of, even if you haven't seen the film.
Yeah, and like you should definitely, if you're watching this, go on this website and just click around, because there's a bunch of just like cool shit that clicking around will take you to. I know there's like a seal track somewhere.
There's a what?
There's like a seal track. Like there's like.
Oh yeah, I feel like it's somewhere. I feel like it's near the bottom. Okay, that's me, and that's my friend Josie. Yeah, some of these links are booky. I can't even remember them anymore. Therapy. I feel like therapy is something wild. Hey, Nella Rose was one of my favorite YouTubers. Funny.
Gotcha.
She makes me laugh so much, I be crying. Yeah, like I be crying. Like one of my favorite videos of hers is like when like she's putting her makeup on and she has like two of her friends, like male friends, just like they're like doing the voiceover over her putting on makeup, and it's so funny. I actually had tears. I'm sorry, the London girlies just have me finished.
And then another website, my own Maurice. What is this one about?
So this is an extension of the video on YouTube where I was like doing the southern accent. This is essentially a film. So this website for me counts as like, I guess, like my second film that I've made. So it's about a town called McMullen, and it's a town in the south that existed and just didn't exist anymore, and it had like pretty much 90% Black people. And then basically the more you go on the website, the more you realize kind of what happened to the town. And it's like kind of like piecing things together. So you can kind of get in on the website, you get to like the crescendo at any given point. And I remember I kind of like loosely took elements from like this game, Sam Barlow, who did like Silent Hill. He did called Her Story, where like at any point you've already got into the cliffhanger but it's like, but this was like kind of through a website. And I made a video channel version of it on my YouTube channel. So you can, if you don't want to play go on the website, you could also just watch on my YouTube channel. where it serves as the only documentary that I know of this town. And this is Madden, and yeah, I can't really say too much, but you guys have to go through, and then you kind of see why and how he connects to this town. Basically. So I think growing up I just always made, I'll send you some more that I made actually, but growing up I just always like would make websites. I remember I made one website called Okimlistening.tumblr.co, but I remember it's still there actually, but I just made it as like a holding page for like a maths website, and I feel like I made this honestly like 9 years ago, and it was supposed to be a maths website because I was like, oh, I'm gonna make maths cool and like symmetry and like algebra. I remember this is even funny because I remember even being young, but like, oh, I need like someone to add music, like a music thing would be amazing. But yeah, so I made that. But I used to just make so many websites up and like games, just because I remember I had like an ex from when I was super young, and his whole thing was like, if you like something, make it. If you want to download it. If you see something like, download it. And I was like, wait, I can make 1 million websites? I remember we were so young. He was like, make 1 million websites. So I feel like just like the minute I knew how to buy domain names, it was just a wrap. Because I was just like, make a website or something, buy a domain name that costs like 0.1p, and then make a website. And then I think I just kind of like that idea of just kind of like having these things in the digital sphere.
Yeah, how many websites do you think you made?
I don't know. I feel like a lot.
Yeah.
Just a lot. Is that Josie? Oh no, it's not Josie. There's someone's coming into my room. I'm being hushed out because of the opening I'm going to.
Yeah, facts. I think that was probably the last. Oh yeah, I want to just. You have the Chatango, where if people.
Oh, I didn't make that, but it's just it's just a Chatango, Chatango. It's just like kind of this like weird kind of. I remember NTS had one, and I was like, oh, it'd be nice to have one. And I remember like just getting it, and it's actually really sweet because it's just like a nice place to like post about stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like when I first started it, people used to really go crazy. They used to post about like games to play and like TV shows to watch. So I definitely want to like, I kind of like that more people are like posting like other things. Because I remember before people were like, I love you. I'm like, stop. Like, can we like make it like, I don't like, when it's like, I don't like this focused on me. Like I really like when people like post about like their own music or like other things or like TV shows to check out. And like more time, this site is crazy because even this person, rational something, their music was amazing. I was like, whoa, I don't know if this is a real person or whatever, but I was like, this is beautiful. So a lot of people in the chat server, they really be crazy. Like their own artwork and stuff is actually so fire. And they always send me like really cool things to check out. So
yeah,
it's a nice place sometimes.
Well, yeah, Lee, man, you got any more questions?
Yeah, I think I don't know if we went over this, but were you always going by Klein? I don't think we ever asked that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you ever have any other aliases you used at all, or was it just like always like
I had
something you stuck strong with?
I did, but I don't claim them. I do. You know what it is, yeah? When everyone asks about the other aliases, I'm like, okay, so wow, everyone is a Fed.
Yeah, no, this is a big Fed question, and I'm gonna lean into it. I don't care.
No, I did Because I think even just growing up, even like I remember when I was young and I had Twitter, I'd always just make like different names, and then people would call me the name from the Twitter account, and I was like, wait, I guess that's the name, and then I'd release stuff from that name, and I was like, ugh. And then if someone like came across it, I'd be like, okay, no, this name has to go because it's not a thing. So I feel like I feel like growing up, everyone just used to have tags. So I guess I see Klein as like the longest tag I've had, to the point that friends are called friends. I just identify as like Klein now. So yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, no, respect.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
When are you guys gonna come to London?
Shit, man.
That's a dream.
Hopefully soon. One day.
Hopefully soon, yeah.
I'll run it up.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely. I'll pull up on you if I'm ever out in the area for sure.
Period. And also, if I ever come to, it's funny. I went to Portland once.
Oh, you did?
Ago. Yeah, I played at some place in Portland.
Do you remember what it was called?
Yes, Portland. Let's see what it's called. Oh my god, I can't find it.
Did you
it was
like
some
Portland? Yeah.
It was cool, but I went to a strip club and I cried.
The most strip clubs per capita is in Portland.
Yeah, I heard the strip clubs in Portland are crazy.
Yeah, I've
never been.
The one I went to was so eerie. There were like all these like withered white women dancing in slow-mo to like Lauryn Hill, Ready or Not. I was like, yeah, fusion. And I just sat in the corner, and it was the first time I'd taken like I think it was like weed edibles, and I just took too much, and I just started crying. I was like, I don't want to be here. And then they're like, God, okay, we'll take you out. And that was like my first time in Oregon. So yeah,
so funny.
So yeah,
no, that sounds like a typical sort of like Portland strip club experience. It's like sort of.
But I like Portland. I feel like that's where Nike be trying to recruit everyone there. You could just have a little cup of tea. They're like, you're recruited. Work for Nike.
No, they have this employee store too, where everything is like 50% off if you go and like know someone who works at Nike. It's like all these like new Nike shoes and stuff that are like 150, but are just gonna be like half of that.
Insane.
I know.
Okay, well, yeah. Hopefully, you catch me there.
Yeah, exactly. If you're there, let me know. I'll take care of you.
Oh my god! Thank you so much for today. It was like so sweet.
Yeah.
Thanks for talking to us.
No worries. We're gonna keep chatting. Imagine I just message you guys like next week. I'm like, okay, so we're gonna talk about Eastenders today. A dedicated topic, actually. So yeah.
All right, great. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. You got any shout outs?
Anyone you want to shout out?
To all my friends. I'm not gonna individualize anyone. All my friends. Who else? Who else do I like? Shout out to Summer Walker. Shout out to Pamela Z. Who else? Shout out to you guys. Shout out to Soulja Boy, McMill. Yeah. And that's it.
And shout out Klein.
Yeah, big shout out Klein. Thanks for talking to us.
Hey, thanks.
All right,
well, I'm gonna rush out. And
Klein.
Sleepwalker, let's run it up. Peace.
Peace.
Bye.
Peace.